Hello everybody, my name is Mr. Nice Guy, and welcome back to yet another episode of me crossing Hyrule in strange ways. This time, we are pushing a boulder all the way across the map, which you guys should probably know that, considering that should be in the title and the thumbnail, and I mean, you're watching the gameplay right now, then it appears with my eyes, what I'm seeing on screen right now, that is what I am doing. So, first things first, before we talk about the challenge and all the rules and specifics about it and all the details, let me tell you some other information that you might want to know in case you guys are new here. So, my name is Mr. Nice Guy, and you are watching the Mr. Twice Guy YouTube channel. This is my second channel, where I post random things, and I also post these full versions of like the full sped up gameplay of these challenges that I'm doing. This is a series on my main channel where I cross the map in strange ways, and then I show off the full gameplay, but obviously I speed it up because this challenge took me like 3 hours and 11 minutes, I think I saw when I just went to go edit this right now, and I threw it in the timeline. It took 3 hours and 11 minutes, so you guys, I'm not gonna throw this whole footage up there. We'll speed it up a bit. This is 20 times speed that I sped this up. So that should tell you just how slow this goes. The boulder, it does not move fast. So yeah, if you want to see the full edited, highly edited, well done, well made, I put a lot of time and effort. I put my soul into that video. Go check it out on my main channel, Mr. Nice Guy. There should be a link to that, I think, in the description. But I'm talking about big juicy butts right now. Actually, I got distracted thinking about big juicy butts. What was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? I don't even remember what I was gonna say. I said butt, and then I got distracted. But this is, okay, let's talk about the challenge, the rules, I think we'll talk about now. I may have wanted to say something else, but we'll talk about the rules. So what are the rules for this challenge? You're pushing a boulder. Now, what does that mean? That means the only way I'm allowed to move this boulder is by physically pushing it with Link. Moving Link up to the boulder and moving the analog stick into the boulder. I'm not allowed to pick it up with Ultra Hand, that's banned, and I'm also not allowed to build some Zonai technology auto build to carry this thing and just fly across the map with that. The only way I'm allowed to move it is by pushing it. There are a couple things I did allow. I did allow recall because I figured this challenge would be really annoying without recall, because the boulder would roll down hills and I'd have to go all the way back, and it would be super annoying, and potentially the boulder could roll down a hill really far or fall off a cliff and just get stuck, and then I'd have to start all the way over. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna allow recall for my own sanity, and honestly, I kind of think I didn't even need recall. I kind of wish I did not allow recall, because there were a couple times where I used it, but it's definitely possible without recall. Another thing I did allow that you'll be seeing sometimes throughout this, if you can tell with the sped up gameplays, I allowed octo balloons. See, octo balloons, they don't move the boulder, you know, forward, backwards, in whatever direction. You have to, you need to push it in order to move it still. Because it just floats, you know? The octo balloon, all it does is make the rock float, and then I still have to physically push it as Link. So I figured, hey, if I have an octo balloon on it and I push it, and I'm still pushing it across the map, it's not cheating. And honestly, I spent some time thinking about this challenge. This was the idea I had in my head for a while. I mentioned it in one of my older videos. I mentioned it in the video where I carried a pot across the map. I was like, I want to push a boulder across the map. And I've been stuck thinking about how I am going to do this for so long, because I know for a fact that if I did try and push a boulder across the map, and I could only push, nothing else, that this would be impossible. If you've just tried out yourself, try and push a boulder in Tears of the Kingdom next time you hop on, guys. You can't do much with this thing. It's really annoying. If you try and push it up even the slightest little hill, it just won't go anywhere. It'll keep trying to like turn and like roll down the hill, and it's super annoying. So definitely would not be possible. There's no route across Hyrule where you can traverse it without going up a hill at some point. So I was like, what can I do to make it possible to get over hills, but not be overpowered? Because if I allowed Zonai devices, I thought about using rockets, but I felt rockets were too overpowered, and I thought Octobloons would be perfect. I didn't think they'd be too OP, but honestly, the Octobloons were way better than I thought they would be. They were crazy good, and I still, like, I remember before I started this challenge, I didn't think it was gonna be possible, even with Octobloons, because I didn't think Octobloons were that good. I thought this challenge was still end to fail. I thought I was gonna reach a big hill, because there are a couple of big hills I have to come across eventually to get across the map. I have studied this map quite a lot doing these challenges, so I know where all the hills are. Oh my gosh, the flashing lights right now with this lightning. Horrible, I'm sorry. But, yeah, I studied the map a lot. There's no way to get across this without going across at least one big hill, and I thought, no way the Octoballoon would even help that much. But it did, and yeah, it's possible. That's why you're watching this video right now, because it was indeed possible. But that's it. I just allowed Octoballoons and Recall. And I did use Chicken Little, a little bit to help push the Octoballoon. I try not to use him too much, because I was worried about that being cheating, because it's not Link pushing it, it's just, you know, it's the wind from Chulin. So, I try not to overuse Tullin. I also didn't try to overuse Octoballoons, but by the time we reach the end of this challenge, I start using them a lot. Like, at this point, I start using them a lot more than I was at the start of the challenge, because it was getting late. Like I said, this took 3 hours, over 3 hours to do. And I didn't want to be, you know, up all night long, so I was like, let me be liberal with my Octoballoon usage. Here, this hill. Okay, this hill. This is the hill I thought was going to end the challenge. The hill in front of Lake Hylia. But we handled it way better than I could have imagined, thanks to Octoballoons. And then we have the Gliak. I was a little worried about the Gliak. The Gliak has this one wind attack that will push Link back, and I was like, I don't know if this wind attack is going to affect the boulder or not. It was a little scary, but we handled it well. I also want to say, if you if you guys haven't seen the video on my main channel, we have a funny little storyline going on. I did this with the last couple of crossing the map videos. I added a little storyline to it. You know, it's nice to have a story in your videos. It makes it a little extra special. And this time we named the boulder Bob. So it was Bob the Boulder, not to be confused with Bob the Builder. And he was like this senile old man who was out of touch with the times and just didn't give a crap. He would just say whatever's on his mind. And I thought it was pretty funny. I took some inspiration from the Stan's grandpa from South Park. Also, this hill right here this is the hardest part of the challenge. You see I'm spamming the pause button to spam Octoballoon, spamming Recall to get this boulder up this hill. That would not have been possible at all without Octoballoons. And maybe even Recall, maybe. That would have been so annoying without Recall right there. There was another route I could have taken, but that also had a big hill, so I kind of chose like this one because it was a shorter path. So maybe I could have done the other hill without Recall, but this one I definitely need the Recall for. But yeah, Bob wanted to go see the ocean because he's a boulder and he's never seen the ocean before. And we got him there. We were also worried about any blood moons on this challenge, but there were no blood moons until the end. There was a blood moon right at the end. I was like, oh my god, is Bob going to despawn or not? But we made it to the end, just like that. Also, if you want to find out if he despawns with the blood moon, go check out the full video on my YouTube channel.